Hello and welcome to Mac Trains. We're going back again this time to try and add the second chip to the HST. I've got one already, but I wanted to add a second one. Got one on the sale. I'm going to try consisting. So if you want to learn how to consist with HM7000, stick around. In the meantime, you can enjoy me struggling to get these screws out of the HST. Thanks for watching. Body off time. Let's just zoom out a wee bit. Wiggle it toward the nose from the back, and that should come out okay. There we go. They are nice little things. Nicely molded fan and so on. So right, that's for the speaker, and that's the dummy. There we are then. So we've got the chip and the speaker. All that's needed. So we will pry off the blanking plug. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Comes to you when you're not thinking about it. There we go. And this should simply sit in there. Yep. That seems to be it in quite securely. Now, there's all this space here. Of course, it's simply interesting to see the inside. It is relatively heavy for just a driving car, and that's why. It's just literally got some white metal sheets placed there to add weight. You could add more, but there's really no point. It just means more work for the powered car to get on with. But that is a reasonably neat solution, I suppose. The speaker to fit. That should simply be case of peeling that off, settling that down. So let me come zoom in a little bit more again for you here. Try and do this as close to in sight as possible. So you peel off the backing, and then you try to get the best seal you can on here. That seal is key to avoiding distortion. Should just sit down quite nicely into that space. And then, if I've done this correctly, and the little plug end should fit in there. Just pinch it at the back. Ah, you hear that satisfying little clip. Yep. So that's in. And then it's just a case of putting it all back together again, tucking the wires in neatly, getting the body on, and putting the screws back on, and then over to the app and see how it does for consisting. What could go wrong? Well, you're about to find out. Quite a few things. Anyway, set up the chip in the usual way and just let it register it. Use your software updates. This is a SPROM update. Takes a wee while, but not too bad. Let it do its thing and then work with it from there. Okay, so I've called HST Dummies car. Go to settings and then to the engine shed and then to new vehicle and consist. Right, and then you can give it a name. I just called it HST consist. And then you want to add locus. Say 0 locus just now, so that's where you click. And then all the ones in your engine shed show up, and you tap the ones you want to be in a consist. I want the dummy car and the blue HST. Add them in, job done. And then just go back into consist settings again. You can add an image in here as well if you want to. Do turn down global volume. It's always far too high. But anyway, then I go looking around, okay, what do I do next? Because I don't really know what I'm doing next. This is just me doing it for the first time. So I'm looking at the global functions and there's nothing there. So the whole thing's blank. I'm thinking, okay, do I have to fill in all the functions myself that I want for global functions? What do I do next? And I don't know is a short answer. So we'll come back to that. And at least it's not hard to figure out once you know, but I didn't know what to do. So go back to the thing itself. That's your control on the left, that's your speed, and that's the individual functions, but that's not global functions. Global functions, that button there, roughly in the middle of the screen, which I now move helpfully out of sight altogether. So let's see if we can get the thing moving at least. That's the plan. See if it's working. So you can't see this, unfortunately, because I'm a clever fellow. But there we are. She's on the move. So it is working just now, but global functions aren't enabled. So it goes forward and it goes backwards, but that's nothing different. It would do that even without being consistent because that's only taking the power from the power card. The dummy is doing nothing right now. Beyond being connected, it's not doing anything else. Right then, so I got the individual functions from each one, but that's not what I want. I want global functions. So that's what I'm hunting for just now. So there's global functions that you see. That brings it in. There's nothing there. The whole thing is completely blank. So I've missed something somewhat. I've missed a step. Oh yes, you've got the vertical alignment now, so that the thing rotates, which actually works quite well. I think probably I'll use it when it's not on the stand. I think vertical will be actually quite a comfortable way to operate the app. So that's a good move. So I'm trying to gain global functions. What do I miss? So back to settings. There's a consist, HST consist. There it is sitting there. Trying to look, what have I missed? What have I missed? Must have missed something. Global function map. There she is. Loading profiles. So it gives you a whole list of all the different options you've got. So you just want to scroll down until you find the, well, in this case, the HST one. There it is, class 43. I'll just scroll past it. Come on, Greg, you can find it. There we go. Let's tap that. It doesn't take long. Green, it's done. Just like that. That's how quickly it imported them. There's plenty of choices there if you want to go for other functions. I don't know what difference it is particularly, but hey ho, we'll stick with the HST one. Let's go back to controls. Let's try global functions. And they're all there. Yay! Success. Or so it seems. The lights now work. Yep, check that. Again, great camera work. You can't see that, but I've got white at one end and I've got red at the other. That's doing its thing. There's the engine start. Hang on. We're going to turn on AFC. That's all seems good. And I'm ready to rumble, I think. Turned off the engine start now, but the AFC's turned on. Okay. So that's back in the camera shot at least, which is improvement. So let's go and move it now. So you just, I forget it's not drag and drop. You just tap where you want to go. The colour changes indicating how fast you're going. And absolutely nothing happened. So sound's still working, but there's no movement. What have I forgotten this time? What have I done wrong? And it turns out what I needed to do basically was the old off and on. Quit the app, start the app, and it got there. A bit of frustration when I tried that, tried moving it, tried forward and back, nothing. Eventually I do attempt to quit the app. I'll show you that in a second. And that didn't work either initially. But that was only because I was daft and didn't actually wait for the Bluetooth to reconnect. So it obviously couldn't do anything. But you'll see that in a second. Right. That'll get us through this next section.
Right. So why is that? that off. Yeah, we've got no motion. So I'm trying to quit and try again. No. I got none.
Always best way to actually look connected, of course, isn't it? Okay. There we are. Hold off and on. Let's bring it back. Global functions. Lights on. Yep. Automatic function control. And to be honest then, I just had a play, to be quite honest. It was great. It was good to get it all working together. So that's consisting. A few hiccups along the way. It would be more good to see a more obvious way of importing global functions, or at least showing that as the next step, guiding you to that rather than leaving you hunting around for it. But it's not particularly difficult to see it there and then go, oh yeah, I need to add that. Glitch obviously when having done that I got sound and light but no movement. Restarted the app, solved that.
Yes.
Maybe there was something else I missed at some point. It could have been sometimes you need to power off the decoder and then power it back on, which I don't think I did there, so it could have been that. But apart from that, she's running sweetly, which I'm really pleased at. Really pleased to get to that point.
Slow down.
And certainly can start to imagine a few extra cars in between, getting the HST spinning around the layout, which I think will look great. Quite like the color coding on the bar as well. You can also shift the scale of that. I think I'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, it's nicely designed. I like the vertical, I must be honest. I find that much more natural to use than the slider right to left or left to right. For your speed settings, and really what we need to have actually is two speed controls on a screen, particularly on a tablet screen. There's really so much space there. There should be plenty within the UI to give us control of two locos simultaneously. So that's what I would really love to see them bring out as a next feature, to be quite honest. I think that's actually one that is a gap just now. I mean, even the basic HM6000 HMDC app has two power controls on the one screen, on a phone, not even on a tablet. It obviously doesn't have all the functions to fit in, but that functionality is great to add. But that's added functionality. Control of your locos, your basic functionality, and control of two locos, I think, is quite basic functionality. So I would love to see that coming soon. But yeah, it was not too painful. That's me now. I'm going to look at this. I've even got the HM6010s all hooked up and working. And so with that, give it a wee moment. And there's 3 HM6010s under the board. They're all connecting to Bluetooth right now. Powered on, connecting. And then I get control of the whole suite of points across the layout. So that was quite nice. I was quite pleased with that. I don't know what I'm doing there in the settings, but I'm obviously looking for something again. Oh yes, was it the slider perhaps? Let's see if I'm sensible enough to actually put this into shot. I can't quite remember if I did or not. But in there somewhere, I'm looking for the settings to adjust the scale of the slider and so on proportionally. You can move the slider to the left or the right hand side of the screen. You can adjust the amount of screen that the slider takes up proportionate to the buttons and functions. And I obviously can't find it, but I do eventually find it. Can't remember where that is right now, but it's in there somewhere. Where are we looking here, Greg? Come on. You can do this.
Manage device, engine shed, slider behavior. Ah, that looks like it's moved. Oh yes, for some reason it tripped into DCC enabled mode there. I had to move back to Bluetooth. Don't know why I did that. Maybe I touched something by mistake. Right, where is this? Where is it? Not there. Global volume, not there. Adjusting the volume slightly. I definitely do look at the global volume. For some reason it's almost defaults into 50, which I think is far too loud. And also, because the speakers can get hot, it does provide a substantial risk of causing damage. They should be defaulted something substantially lower than 50, in my opinion. What are we looking at here? That looks back into the consist. Still nothing there. I am hunting around. See, it should be more obvious, I think, but I did get there. Ah, that looks like it. There we go. So look at, you can see now I can adjust the proportion screen. I can invert it to have the slide on the right rather than the left, and you can change the relative size of buttons to the relative size of slider. So that's it. Reduced slide to give me a bit more space for the buttons. It doesn't need to be massive, the slider, to be quite honest, and that's adjusted on the fly. So that's us back. So that's definitely helpful to know it's in there, but it's not the easiest thing to find. Let me see. Consist control orientation display. There you go. So that's what you need to look for. And that adjusts, as you can see. You make it massive, you can make it small. Give us 2 next time, George. It's great. It's all showing incremental improvements, which was the promise of the system in the first place. It doesn't need to be all at once. But to me, let's move on. Let's get the... you can do it legacy as well. You can do it horizontally. I just don't like that so much. I think the vertical is definitely a better move. And you can see that there. Now the colour's gone a bit bananas there for some reason. It's gone to green when it should be a bit orange at that stage. Once you touch it, it got back in its right place. So it wasn't hard to shift. So yeah, HM7000 consisting. I think it shows a lot of the potential of the system, because this is how you add features. You improve the UI, you add in features, and it costs the user nothing, and there's no new hardware required. You just over the air add the updated software to the chips, the app gets updated from the app stores, and you're ready to go. And this is tremendous. This is exactly why this system has so much potential. And there is more. Obviously there's much more that can be done, and hopefully will be done. And it will be slow. It'll be slower than we want it to be. We want it to be all singing, all dancing straight away. But never mind, because it'll get there. As long as it keeps getting the support from Hornby, and I don't see why it wouldn't, then I think this system has tremendous potential. And hopefully bringing out the 6-pin will give it another shot in the arm, because that really opens up a massive market that's untapped just now. A lot of the stuff people bought maybe 10 years ago, it's 6-pin DCC. And so to access that, so people can't shift over, because they've got a huge legacy of stock of locos, and then you can't just get rid of that and decide, oh, I need to go in all now on next 18 or whatever it is. Let alone the new ESU 24-pin thing that's causing some headaches for, I'm sure, the HM7000 development team as to what they do or don't do in regard to that. But you see what's potential, what can be done here. That's me just changing the points there now. It's coming over. I actually blundered there. I'd left the third point in that run was going the wrong way, but the HST just went over it without derailing. So I was quite pleased. I had to go and investigate. See, what was that bump? I thought it was maybe some of my bad ballasting that had caused a grief on the track. But no, it was just a point that was set wrong. So I'm checking it out. Ah, that's what I've done. Yep, bad point. That was not clever. So now checking to see if the app can change it. And it can, and all's well. And send the HST then flying around the outer loop for a wee bit of fun. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it's been useful. As you can tell, because I'm hunting around stuff, I deliberately didn't do a lot of the walkthrough of the manual and all the rest of it. I know, read the manual, but But a lot of people just try and bash through. They've got some basic idea, and I thought, well, I'll find the points of inertia, I'll find the hurdles that are there this way that don't seem obvious, and I definitely did. I think I hit all of them. But at the same time, you also therefore get to know the system a wee bit better, because you're working with it, you're using it yourself, and you're not just relying on what someone else has told you. So there we go. Here she comes around again. You can just about see, I think, the lights on there. And it's the HST is brilliant, actually. I really do like the HST. I haven't run it enough. And I think this consisting option, now that's another thought. I need to check that out now. Because I really like the vertical control. Can you put a single loco into a consist? I got a bit nervous there by coming near the edge. As you can tell, the hand going out in case a derailment happens at a very inopportune moment. So there will be an upstand there. There'll be a notional wall once this layer is finished. But right now, that's just me feeling a bit precious. So yeah, I wonder if I like the vertical control for the speed. So if you put a loco into a consist, just on its own, motionally, you get the big buttons for the global functions, which is actually more convenient. You get the vertical control. That might actually be the way to go. I should have tested that before I did this video. I should have thought of that before narrating this video, but I didn't. So there you are. That's me about done, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it, and any questions, if I can answer them, I'm happy to try, but I'm not an expert in HM7000. I'm not pretending to be. I'm just saying this is how I got on attempting to add consisting, and hope it's useful. Do like, comment, subscribe, call to action, I think it's called. You know the stuff. All right, see you soon.